Welcome to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast, where we interview the biggest and most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, and capital raisers in the world to provide you with the tool sets, the mindsets, and the skill sets to help you conquer yourself, your life, your marriage, and use real estate as your wealth creation vehicle so that you can live a more successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and contribution. If what you're after is having it all, if what you desire is becoming the best version you can be across all areas, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, sentimentally, and financially, you've come to the right place. We will bring to you the best of the best real estate entrepreneurs who will give you the insights, knowledge, experience, and skills so that you can go out and crush it financially and across all areas of your life. Grab pencil and paper, sit back, enjoy, and you are welcome to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast. Hello, Modern Kings and Queens. Welcome to another episode of the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast, where we interview some of the best real estate investors and real estate entrepreneurs out there to provide you with the tool sets, the mindsets, and the skill sets for you to conquer yourself, your life, your marriage, and use real estate as your wealth creation vehicle so that you can live a more successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and contribution. So today, I have a very interesting guest with me. His name is Juan Ruan. And Juan Ruan's journey is a testament of the power of hard work and the pursuit of the American dream. Being Chinese American, raised in Mexico, just like me, all right, pretty cool. Juan is fluent in English, Spanish, and Chinese. That's crazy. Juan witnessed firsthand the sacrifice of his parents made as immigrants to provide for their family, and inspired by their example, Juan dove into the world of business at just 18 years of age and has over 10 years of experience focusing on leadership, mindset, and marketing. Right now, he's also involved in real estate. He has a portfolio with over 100 short-term rental properties under management, residential real estate redevelopment, and long-term investment strategies as well. So, Juan, thank you very much for being here, man. I really appreciate it. There was more to your bio, but I'd rather just get into it. Thank you very much for being here, man, and you're welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate you having me on and even the opportunity to share with your community my experiences, and hopefully this will be helpful for someone on your show.
It will definitely, man. So the first thing that I do with my guest is I actually ask them to walk us through their real estate investing journey in 75 seconds or less.
75 seconds. Sounds good. So, kind of like you shared, I started in entrepreneurship at 18. This was back in 2012, and I started at a marketing agency. So I learned all my skill set through that in 2018, which was 6 years into the game of just being self-employed and building my own business. I came across Airbnb and rental arbitrage. So one of my partners, I live here in the San Francisco Bay Area. He was doing master leases on these apartment complexes where he would lease 5 to 10 units at a time. And what we would do is that we would come in and furnish them, put them up on Airbnb. We'd host the guests, we'd pay the lease, and then we'd take a profit. So we scaled that portfolio in 2018 to 2020 in 2 years here in the Northern California Bay Area market to over 100 listings, pretty much what you shared earlier. And in the middle of 2020, when the shelter in place and everything happened, we were forced to pivot as there was no travel going on. And that's when we got into real estate development, which is fix and flips and that whole investment world. And then we ended up taking some of those profits and moving them over to long-term rentals. So I have dabbled in the short-term rental, long-term rental, fix and flip, and then also Airbnb world. And right now I also lead a real estate sales team. So we have a boutique real estate company called Kinetic Real Estate here in the Northern California area. We have 61 active real estate agents and did about 320 million in sales last year.
Cool. You nailed it, man. You nailed it. That was incredible. So let's see. So my question, so you spent some time, how much time did you spend working in the real estate marketing company?
So that one wasn't a real estate marketing company. That
I
was a
mean, no,
marketing.
marketing, digital marketing company. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Correct. So I did that for 9 years. I started in
9 years.
Yep, at 18. That was my first business, and I did that for 9 years.
Okay. So the reason I'm asking you this, man, is because a lot of real estate investors out there don't realize how important marketing is, right? And the concepts and frameworks and principles of marketing. Most real estate investors don't realize how important they are to the business of real estate investing, right? Um, most people think that it's just about like buying houses or buying apartment buildings and all of that, but marketing has a big role and it plays a huge role in it. So what are some of the most important lessons about marketing, in your opinion, man, that you learned through your 9-year journey of being involved in marketing and working inside this digital marketing or marketing company?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest lessons that I took out of it is when marketing a product, a service, or anything that you're offering, the most important thing is exposure. And what I mean by that is even today we just walked out of an appointment right before this call, and the seller listed a home with an agent that has their house on the market for 60 days and it's not moving. And he pretty much asked like, "What do you think is wrong?" And I think that the only thing that I could share with him is that there isn't enough exposure in a short amount of time. There isn't enough exposure in a short amount of time for there to be enough value provided to the buyer. And here's what I mean by that. If we were talking about real estate, for example, and let's say we have a property under contract, right? Or let's say that we currently just flipped a home, right? The goal is to get as many eyeballs, right, as possible, as many people interested in that product or service. And the secret and the key is in as short a time of possible, right? Because you can have
Mm-hmm.
100% 100 people see the same product in a 1 year time frame versus 100 people see the same product in a 30-day time frame. And that 30-day time frame is going to create a buzz and a momentum about your product or service that is critical in marketing. It gives the illusion that something is much more valuable and desirable when you have more people looking at the same product or service all in a shorter period of time.
Mm. So what are some of the keys to be able to get lots of exposure in a short amount of time, man?
So, well, the way it depends on what we're talking about. In regards to real estate, there's three keys that we pay attention to. We use something called traditional, digital, and social, right? And what I mean by that is we usually use
Cool.
all the traditional channels, which if we're talking about marketing a home, right, we would use the MLS, we would use open houses, we would use mailers, we would use door knocking, circle prospecting, which is calling the neighborhood, letting them know the home is coming on the market. We would use digital, right? Digital is all the different platforms that we get to use online nowadays, such as uploading on
Mm-hmm.
Zillow and putting it on all these online platforms. We create a website for each individual property. And then the social is the social platform that we get to leverage nowadays, which is Instagram, Facebook, running ads through those channels. So those are the three main pillars that we target. And then we invest into those three different marketing channels in order to market a property or in this case we're talking about real estate. So that's those are like the strategies that we lean in on.
Nice, man. And so I understand, right? You use traditional digital social to be able to get that exposure across all of these multiple different channels and variety of platforms. Um, However, like, do you have, because I'm trying to get to like maybe something that I want to get to, right? And I'm trying to like discover. But within those platforms, right? Like these are different mediums and different platforms and different channels. However, within them, man, um, so for example, when you're running a business, it's very important to know who you're talking to, your avatar, right? Your niche. It's very important for you to have a clear understanding and a deep understanding of who is it that you're talking to, like their psychological drivers, their beliefs, their fears, their problems, their frustrations, and all of that, in order to be able to build a good and strong marketing message, right? And then you need to devise your marketing strategy around that. In real estate, like in your experience, do you implement any of that as well?
Yeah, I think just what you said is so key. Is just knowing who your audience is going to be. For example, if I was to market to an investor versus market to a first time home buyer, I would use completely different approaches. And I think that knowing your audience is the only way you're able to communicate the message that they want to hear. So, for example, if I was to speak to an investor, I wouldn't be focused too much on the view of a home or all the
The features.
finishes or yep, we would look more into like what is going to be the ROI of the property or what is going to be the rental income or the profit if they were to purchase this property, maybe add some value or put it up as a rental versus if I was marketing a home for a first time home buyer or if I was to put a home on the market, we're targeting people that are, you know, need in a sense making a decision emotionally, right? They're not necessarily looking at if the numbers make sense. That's not going to be the main motivation factor. I think the person buying that property is going to see if the schools are going to be good for their kids or if they're going to be comfortable in that community and if they're going to have friends over or family over, if they're going to be able to host them well. So just understanding who you're targeting, what would be, I would say the first question to ask, and I know that that's kind of general in a way, and I can definitely go in through like a more in-depth example if you wanted to, but I think that that's a great starting point.
Hello, modern kings and queens. I'm sorry for the interruption. I know you're enjoying the episode, but I have something super important that you must listen to. If you've been following this podcast for a while now, it's because of one of two reasons. Number one, you aspire to have it all, to unlock your potential across all areas of your life and achieve true freedom physically, emotionally, spiritually, sentimentally, and of course, financially. And or number two, you're a real estate investor or an aspiring real estate investor who has chosen to use real estate as your wealth creation vehicle to achieve financial freedom. My mission as part of the Modern Kings and Queens movement is to help as many people as I can achieve financial freedom using the vehicle of real estate. And I believe that networking can be an incredibly powerful tool to help you unlock your potential across all areas, but more importantly, financially. And more specifically, in real estate. I believe that in real estate, your net worth is your network. This is why I created the 4-step capital raising networking system to help real estate investors propel their growth by using a reliable system that will consistently help them connect with their ideal investors, build trust, add value, get their investors to promote them and put them in front of more investors, and raise more capital faster and in a much more effortless way so that they can become successful, not only financially, but across all areas of their life. If this is something that you want, and this is something that you're interested in, click the link below to gain access to a training that will explain the 4 steps to building a high leverage network that you can use to raise millions of dollars in capital, propel your growth in real estate, and achieve financial freedom in a much more effortless way so that you can have more time and energy to pour into every single other area of your life so that you can become successful, not only financially, but across all areas of your life. In this training, you will learn 4 things. Number 1, aligned connections. I'll show you how to network effectively and how to make sure that your networking efforts work by leveraging a secret, little known concept called the cloak track. Number 2, networking tool. I'm gonna reveal to you a secret networking tool that the top 5% of successful real estate investors use to become successful. And I'm gonna show you how you can use it too to become successful and get out of that 95% of real estate investors that don't really make it. 3, high status communication. In order for someone to invest in you, they have to feel like they know you, like you, and trust you. A lot of people can communicate, but very few can connect. High status communication will allow you to build trust and add value in a way that will make people feel like they know you, like you, and trust you for years in a time span of 30 minutes. And lastly, the 4th thing is the attention multiplication machine. The world doesn't run on oil anymore. It runs on attention. And this last thing, the attention multiplication machine, will show you how to get wealthy investors to promote you and put you in front of more wealthy investors so that you can raise more capital faster and in a much more effortless way. So if this is something that interests you, click the link below to go watch the training. Make sure you stay all the way to the end. If you find value and you want to book a call to talk about how you can get this completely offhand system, completely done for you system, implemented for you in the next 5 days. So click the link below. I'll see you on the other side. And I hope you enjoyed the rest of your episode. Thank you very much. Bye bye. I wanted to get to that, man, because I think that's really important. I struggled a lot in my entrepreneurial journey, right? Wanting to serve everybody, like
Mm.
the entire world, right? And trying to be everything to everyone and ending up being nothing to anyone, right? So that's why I just wanted to make sure to not breeze over that. And then since you had lots of marketing experience, I wanted to dive into that. So man, I have this thing called the five freedom skills, right? I talked about, I talk about freedom, and then I believe that in order to achieve your financial freedom, you need the five freedom skills that I call, right? And that's basically sales and marketing, leadership, recruiting, networking, and speaking, right? And you have lots of experience in the top three, right? I believe, which is sales, marketing, and leadership, right? So right now you're leading a sales team. So talk to me a little bit about that, man.
Yeah, so I think in my experience with a marketing agency, I actually had to do all of those things, right? Which is sales and marketing was one of them. I had to recruit and train other sales agents, and it was heavily focused on leadership. Um, Speaking, right? We would do sales presentations, so that was a part of it. And I don't think I catch your fifth one. I didn't catch your fifth one, but yeah, I think leadership has been such a critical component in the impact that has had in my life, and I'll share with you what I mean by that. When I started at 18 years old, I really didn't really have experience in business or sales or marketing, speaking or any of the sort, right? I think all I really brought to the table was like a hunger that I wanted something different for me and my family, and then
Yeah.
a work ethic to show up to the sales trainings and be able to do the work and whatnot. And it was pretty tough, right? Like coming as an 18-year-old, getting into the world of business and being seen as someone that, and this might have been my own self-limiting beliefs, but then I had the idea of like, oh well, who's gonna see me as credible in business, and all these different doubts, right, that come along when you're self reflecting on like why it's not going to work for you versus focusing on the things that are the reasons why you're going to have success, right, or what's actually playing in your benefit. So I did a lot of personal development. I started with my first book as an 18-year-old reading Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, really understanding like the quadrants of income, understanding what an asset and liability is. And that really opened my mind to think that, hey, I was groomed to think that in order to be successful, you had to have a great education, a great job, and work for a major company for a long period of time before you can have success. And that shattered that belief. And I think that
Yeah.
once that was shattered, then I was like, wow, there's so much that I need to learn. And that's where my journey started in, reading books and going to events, listening to audios, and just religiously doing all of those things in order to grow.
So that started at 18. It's funny, right? Like almost everyone that is in real estate mentions Rich Dad Poor Dad, right?
Mhm.
I also got exposed by Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that was also the main book that put me on this path of wanting to be an entrepreneur and all of this stuff. So so for leadership, man, I like that's one of the most important skills I believe there exists, because if you really think about it, if you really dive deep into the fundamentals, you could just be the greatest leader and just focus on putting the right people in place and leading them and getting them to help you make your vision a reality, right? So you really wouldn't need to know sales and marketing and or anything in that regard, right? All you would need would be a vision and leadership skills to lead the people who do have those skills and all of the tactical things to move you forward towards that vision. So um how does leading a sales team look like, man, for you?
Yeah, so I think you're 100% right on it, right? Where there's like levels of leadership, and I've taken a lot of these concepts out of the great John C. Maxwell, right? Where in the beginning you are by yourself, right? And the next level of leadership is almost like a management type of leadership where, let's say you have a title and someone is doing what you asked them to do because of the title.
Yeah.
right? Then next step is relational, right? Where you build a relationship strong enough with someone else that they're willing to do it because of the relationship being in the line. The next level is a results driven leadership, meaning that someone is willing to follow you because they know that you can take them to where they need to go in a results based, you know, fashion. And the level of the epitome of leadership is you being able to lead other people that also become leaders and are able to take that journey from step one, leading themselves, all the way to leading others through management, through relationships, through results, and then again being able to develop other leaders. And I think that this is a lifelong journey. The way that I'm living that out right now is I'm the president of a company called Kinetic Real Estate, as I was sharing with you. And we're essentially allowing an opportunity, creating a vehicle for other people to use real estate sales to accomplish their dreams and goals, right? Whether
Hmm.
it's financial or whether it's a time freedom basis or being able to do something for their family or accomplish some, material goals, whatever the case may be. But I think the most important thing that I've taken away of all of this leadership concept is that as a leader, we get to set the tone, right? Like the speed of the leader is the speed of the team. And if you're not excited, motivated, and enthusiastic about what you do every day, like don't expect your team to be. And if there's an issue within the team, or if there's an obstacle that you're frustrated about, always understanding that we get to look internally first, like see how we've impacted this decision. I'll give you an example. So last year in 2022, the whole real estate market was very uncertain, right? Based off of interest rates all of a sudden rising. So
Yeah.
the last 6 months of last year was a very slow, um, slower than what it was in the market. So in the beginning, we continue to look at, hey, well, what's happening on the market? What's happening to, our sales? Like it's dropping and all these different things, to the point where that was all out of our control. And what we ended up doing is that we self-reflected and we said, well, regardless of what's happening, like what can we do as a leadership team while everyone else is having a challenge? How can we set this up and see the opportunity within it? So an example of this, right, of how you can change things by creating something is we came up with something called Leaders Finish in Paradise, right, which was going to be a contest where everyone in Q3 and Q4 that did either the same amount of sales that they were doing the last few quarters, or if they over exceeded their sales goals, we put in incentives called Leaders Finish in Paradise, where we would take them on a trip to Tulum, right? So that's something that, as leaders, we are responsible for. When things aren't going our way, like what ideas and what things can we implement into the organization or help the people that we're leading see something different rather than what's right in front of them.
I really like that, man. And that just reminds me of a very important lesson that I learned. I believe I believe it's about leadership, which is I finally understood what it means to have high standards. Right. So, for example, when you're leading a company and you have all of the people in place that you could have to carry out what the company does, to carry out all of the different functions that the company does, it's up to the leader of the company to maintain high standards. So, for example, let's say that you lead a digital marketing company and you do creatives and you do video editing and you do graphic designing and all kinds of stuff in order to help the clients with their marketing, right? Well, if the graphic designing team, bring up a design, and it's up to you to approve, right? Like the decision to whether or not to approve it is up to you, right? That's a standard. So the one who's going to say no, it's not good enough, take it back and redo it, is you, right? So it finally clicked, man. So one day, I kept on hearing, um, maintain your standards, or keep high standards, or raise your standards, and I finally improved because I was living it, right? Like now I have a team and I have all of these people that do all of these things for me, and it's up to me to decide when it's good enough, right? Like it's up to me to decide like at what point it's good enough, right? And then when something comes, and I think it's good enough, well then that's the standard that I've set for my team, right? And I just had this epiphany, man. So I'm working on internalizing it and becoming it. But now I'm very aware, and I'm very aware of the fact that the companies that the standard that my company operates with is up to me. Right? Have you noticed that? Like, have you noticed how the standards that all the salespeople that are led by you, it's up to you?
Yeah, I think that that's a very powerful thing to realize, because then you know that at the end of the day you're in control now, right? And here's same thing that I was sharing with you, right? These are leadership concepts that I learned from books and audios and seminars from John C. Maxwell. Is that there is a law of the lid, right? I'm not sure if you've heard of that before, or if your audience has heard about that. um, but essentially what it says is that if you're a level 7 leader or a level 8 leader, for example, the people that you're going to lead are going to be either level 5 or level 6 leaders, right? Because a level
Mm,
9 leader will never follow a level 8 leader.
yeah.
And I think that that's the reason why, as leaders, we always have to continue to elevate, right? Whether it's mentally, like all these different areas that you're talking about, right? We're continuously have to grow within them, because the end goal is to be able to lead multiple different levels of leaders within our organization. And I think that that's when you have a powerful force, right? Is when you have a strong leader leading a team that has many different skill sets, but they all still respect and look up to that leader for the standards that they do set up for themselves.
Yeah. So levels of leaders. So what Mark's no wait. What's his name? John
uh,
Maxwell?
John C. Maxwell. John
All right.
Maxwell.
So you're a fan of his books?
Yeah, I think he's one of the most renowned leadership specific speakers right now, in that space, in leadership specific.
You know who I really like, man? I really like Simon Sinek. Have you gone through any of his material?
Yeah, yeah, figuring out your reason why.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think it's powerful.
I think it's powerful as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that as leaders, without a clear vision of why you're doing what you're doing, or even what you're building, it's very hard to make it through the tough times.
Yeah. So I don't know if you were able to make this connection, man, but I would like to share with you and share with the audience, right? Since we are talking about marketing and sales and leadership, um, I want to just share how the Start With Why in Start With Why in Simon Sinek's book. It's about leadership. It's about understanding your why, tying that lesson to marketing, right? He says in his book that one of the ways that you are able to attract loyal customers, like the type of customers that you feel really good about and they feel really good about you, right? And you're able to provide lots of value to them and they are happy and they provide lots of value to you because they're happy. Those types of customers, because we've all experienced having customers that we closed or brought on as clients just because we needed the sale, not really, but not because like we really wanted them as customers, right? So one of the things that Simon Sinek says is that when you understand your why and when you lead with your why in your marketing message, you'll attract people who align with your vision, your values, and your beliefs, right? And then they'll buy from you not because of what you believe, but because of what they believe, right? So, for example, in my case, right, in my marketing messages, man, before one of the obstacles that I think a lot of entrepreneurs face in marketing is just scarcity, right? So I used to want to cram all of my marketing message in like a 10-second video because I thought that people had shorter attention spans and I was just going to lose their attention and I wasn't going to be able to get my marketing message through, and I just wanted to cram all in like 10 seconds. And then realize, this abundance mentality, and then now in every market message, man, I make sure that I lead with my why, right? So that I attract people who are attracted to my why. They're aligned with my vision, my values, and my beliefs. Because those types of people, if they get through the marketing message, are going to be like 10 times better as clients than someone who didn't hear what my why was, right? And now I'm attracting people who not only become my clients, but who are people that are aligned with my vision, my values, and my beliefs, and they stay longer, they pay better, they're happier, and we all win, right? So I don't know if you were you able to like make that connection when going through his stuff?
That's actually really interesting that you say that. I think that I agree 100% with you that when you just authentically share who you are, people will connect with you more on what you believe personally, and also your different interests and all of the things that make us human beings, right? Over the fact that you can do business with them. Because I think that they can do business with a lot of people, right? But the only reason why people will do business with people that they like and trust is because of
Hmm.
that relationship. So yeah, I agree with you 100% on it.
And you know what, man? You can take it even further. You can apply that why. I'm so passionate about this book, man, because I think it changed my life. Um, to recruiting, man, right? And it applies to leadership because when you recruit people, so now like I worked this concept into my HR system, into my HR department, and we recruit people who are aligned with our vision and our values and our beliefs, right? Because I used to work really hard to build my team, and and build every single member of my team into modern kings, right? Like this is just what I do, this is what I live for, and I didn't feel good. Like I didn't feel valued, right? And then I resented my team because I would give them my all as a coach, as someone who wanted to develop them and turn them into the best versions of themselves. And I didn't feel valued by them. But it wasn't that they weren't valuing me. It wasn't that they were bad people. It was just that they weren't aligned with my vision, my values, and my beliefs. Like if you want a culture in your business, a culture of happy people, then don't try to recruit sad people and then turn them into happy people. That's too much work, right? If you want a culture of happy people, recruit happy people, right? So, um, building a team, recruiting, I think is very important, not only in business but in real estate, because like real estate is a team sport. So, the recruitment, man, are you involved in the recruitment of your salespeople and your team, or how do you go about that?
Yeah, so it's funny you ask about that, because then it kind of ties into the last conversation that we just had, a few minutes ago, which is I think I'm that standard piece, right? Meaning like we have a recruiting process where people submit an interest request through either the social media or through our online portal or through email. They go through
Mm-hmm.
one round of interview process. We invite them to our team meeting once they are interested. After that, they essentially have a one-on-one session with me, and I almost look for the culture piece, if that makes sense, right? Whether this
Yeah.
person is going to fit and thrive within our culture, or I don't think that there's values aligned, right? And it's interesting because based off of a few questions, you can find out what their true intention and heart is behind what they are looking to join your organization for. So, so yeah, absolutely. I'm very involved in a recruiting process, and I agree with you 100%. Right, where rather than looking to train and develop all the things that you're looking for in your organization, you do have an opportunity to attract those people into your business rather than having to just development from the ground up. Don't get me wrong, we do believe in growth and development and all of those different things, but also that willingness and also bringing a skill set to the table and what value that individual is bringing to the organization, not just
Mm-hmm.
what we're going to offer them one way.
Funny that you mentioned that you look for the culture piece. I actually call that cultural alignment. So we have the logistical requirements section, and then we have the cultural alignment section, right? And the logistical. So my team is remote, completely remote. So we look for logistical things like internet, good microphone, good computer, and all of that. And then on the cultural, that's when we really dive deep into what you said. So I really like that, man. So I know that you've operated a bunch of deals, you've underwritten a bunch of deals, and um, one of your superpowers is also capital raising, man. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience in capital raising, raising capital?
Yeah, we kind of fell into it by accident. And what I mean by that is when we first started we first purchased our first property. It was a fix and flip property. We got it for $485,000, and we essentially used our own money to buy it, right? We used a private money lender. We put I forget what it was, maybe 15% down or something along the lines. And then we also paid for the renovation costs. So we ended up taking a profit from that, rolled that into the next deal. And we were just doing that, right? Which is recycling our own investment funds in order to grow and scale. So for my first, I think 10 properties that we invested in, we didn't take a single dime out of it, right? I think I see um, a lot of investors nowadays, whether it's in the fix and flip world or investment world or whatever the case may be, wholesalers or whatnot, that they start using the money that their business produced in order to like sustain and supplement their lifestyle. Right? They close a deal and they go on vacation. They close a deal, get a better car. They close a deal, get a nicer place. And I think that what I learned from capital raising in itself is that you first have to be disciplined with your own money before someone else is going to be trusting you to be disciplined with theirs, right?
Yeah.
So what we ended up doing is that we reinvested every single dollar that we were earning on our first 10 investment properties back into the business in order to grow the portfolio to the point where someone was knocking on our door essentially saying like, hey, we pull this equity line out of our home. Here's the amount, right? It's like multiple six figures. What should we do with it? And I pretty much gave them like my perspective of what I would do with that kind of money. And they said, well, we actually don't want to do it. We want to give it
Yeah.
when you do, right? Because we see what you're doing and we see that you know what you're doing and you're having success. So that's how we ended up starting the capital raising portion. But we don't do a lot of it. We do like literally very close friends and family at the moment, just because we don't have like a huge syndication or anything set up for it. So it's literally based off of trust and promissory notes, and that's how we're managing it right now.
Hmm. So what kind of deals are you raising capital for right now?
You know, I'm mainly doing short-term projects
Got it.
on raising capital. And the reason why is because I think I just feel more comfortable taking, someone's money and helping them grow it in a short period of time. I think eventually we would love to do bigger deals where we can buy bigger commercial properties like multifamily and things like that. But we just haven't structured it properly where we feel confident. And I think that that's my biggest challenge with raising capital is that I don't want to be the person that we raise money for, right? And for whatever reason, there every investment does have risk, but I don't want them losing money with me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because
Yeah.
then you have
Yeah.
your reputation on the line.
Yeah.
Whether it's our fault or not our fault, at the end of the day, it's still
It was your fault.
you were the one in charge, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
So when you say you want to eventually go into like bigger commercial properties, when would that eventually be? Do you know? Do you have any idea?
So we have some small commercial assets right now.
For sale?
We own it as a rental.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So we have an 8-unit apartment complex out in Sacramento, and we have some other duplex rentals and other multifamily things. But here's what I realized is that there's a cap in which what that one investment will do for you. And here's what I mean by that. Even if we were to cash flow that property, right, at let's say 80% profit based off of gross. Let's say we pay off the loan and um, everything goes well with it, and we're at 80% net from the gross rents that we collect because of other expenses. That would still not be anywhere close to where we want to be, right, as an investment portfolio. So then understanding that if that's the case, then we have to continue to grow and build and do bigger deals in order to reach the goals that we have, right? And the challenge behind that is that it takes a lot of capital upfront. And I think that that's the reason why I share that eventually I think that I would go into that, just not at the moment. Just and maybe time frame wise, I'd say like I don't know, in the next 1 to 3 years, we are exploring what selling all our assets would look like, what that would bring us in equity, and then we can put down or what kind of commercial property we can buy. So those are things that we're exploring at the moment. But yeah,
Cool, cool, cool. Thanks for sharing, man. Um, so, man, what do you think about focus?
just in general.
Yeah, yeah, like focus is a very charged word for me, right? Just like niching down in abundance. It's like because it's played important part in my journey, right? Like the word focus has played an important part in my journey. I remember wanting to do like 10 things at the same time, like doing insurance, digital marketing, real estate, and just having like 10 different goals and like 10 different things. And then all of a sudden, right, something stopped me on my tracks, and that was focus, right? And boom, I learned how to focus. And then the abundance mentality, that was like another key point in my journey that I learned about. So yeah, what do you think about focus?
I think it's the only way to build something significant.
It is, yeah, 100%. You said it perfectly. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I mean, looking at even kind of my own experience, right? When I was working in marketing and building that, that opportunity, that's all I was doing. I lived, breathed, like you almost have to be quote unquote what the common person calls obsessed, right? Because if you're not willing to pay the price of what it really takes to win when there's so much competition everywhere, right? If you're involved in real estate or looking to build a business in your industry, there's so much noise and competition already for the your audience, right? That you're targeting, whether it's your customer, your client, your team, the salespeople that you're developing, whatever the case may be, that if you're not 100% sold out, you're not going to be enthusiastic about it, right? And I actually learned this from my business mentor early on. He shared with me that enthusiasm, right, the last four letters
Mm-hmm.
stand for I am sold out, right? Literally, enthusiasm. The last four letters are I am sold out. And when you're sold out yourself, then that's when you get to inspire other people to want to pursue what you're building.
Cool.
Um, mhm.
Great, man. So, what is it that you are focusing on right now? Like, what is the one thing that you would say most of your focus is going to?
Yeah, I think the main thing I'm focused on building right now is our real estate business, right? So Kinetic Real Estate, we started in 2019. So we're a 4-year-old, 3.5, 4-year-old company. And we just got news like this week of like our rankings based off of all the teams in California and all these different things, which we had actually not focused on, right? We were just putting our head down, working on growing the business, building that as an opportunity, helping our agents grow. And from there, building the real estate sales team, the focus is then to buy passive properties, right? To buy investments and other opportunities where we can create passive income and to achieve freedom, exactly what your whole podcast is about, right? Achieving financial freedom and being able to get to a place where you can control your active income, have a great earning skill, right? To then move it to a saving skill and then essentially translating it into an investing skill. So those are like the three big things that are, big focuses for my family and I. And then as well as at the office, I think one of the coolest things that we've seen at our real estate office, which we're a traditional real estate sales office here in the Bay Area, is that we're seeing our agents start buying their first properties, buying their first investment properties, and really, I mean, as corny as it sounds, like changing their life, right? Through not just selling real estate, but being able to leverage real estate as investments, and then also starting to create this level of the journey to wealth, right? To be able to take advantage of appreciation, equity, cash flow, and making an active income through real estate.
Hmm. Nice. I like that. I like that. Those three like phases, right? First, work on improving your skill to make money, right? Then build the discipline to save it, and in order to then invest it so that it can grow. I like that. So man, we have a couple of minutes, and I do like to end my podcast with a couple of questions. The first one is, what is, you're around real estate entrepreneurs all day long, right? You lead them, you teach them, you guide them. So what would you say is like a mindset that a negative mindset, a false belief, a limiting belief that holds them back from really tapping into their full potential and doing what they can do, what they could do and are not?
Yeah, the biggest self-limiting belief that I see a lot of um, people have, including myself when I first started, is that I felt like I didn't know enough or that I wasn't competent enough to, to start to do it to serve a client. And what I've learned is that the the smallest action is actually more valuable than the greatest intention. Like I can have the intention of serving my client in the best way possible, but the reality is that it's not going to serve them at all unless I take a step of action, right? If
Yeah.
I make that call and see if they're open and interested to use a service within real estate, or taking that action of going out and prospecting, right? Which is reaching out to family, friends, or whatever the case may be, whatever channel it could be. And I think that a lot of people get held back thinking that they need to know more and learn more and go to workshops and go to webinars and go to all these different events, when in reality, what would be more valuable with them would be to take the first few steps and then seek for guidance, take the first few steps and then seek for guidance again.
Nice. I love that. The next question is, um, on the other hand, like just on the side of the other, on the flip coin side. I don't know how to say it. Anyways, what is an empowering belief, man, that you see a lot of the real estate entrepreneurs that you surround yourself with who win having?
Yeah, I think visualizing what you are looking to build or accomplish as if it was now. And what I mean by that is just being that person now, whether you have it or not. I think a lot of people that I talk to, they're like, well, when I get to this position or when I start earning this income per month, then I will blank, right? But the reality is that you get to be that person first before you get the things that that person has, right? And a great example of this is if someone was to looking within our office and they said, hey, well, I want to be your next top producer, right? Being able to, sell X amount of homes a year or do X amount in gross commissions a year. What I would tell them is go shadow someone that is a top producer already and start doing the things that they're doing right now as if you were a top producer already. Because some people are like, well, once I, get to this income level, then I will do this many open houses. Or once I get to this level, then I will be generous and give, right? And
Yeah.
contribute it and market. Once I get to this point, but the reality is that you get to be first, be the leader, be the top producer, be the person that you're looking to become, right? Be that now, you do it, right? And then you get all the things that that person is going to get. In the investing world, right? Then how do you become a person that's trustworthy, right? To raise capital? How do you become a person that is great at finding deals, right? How do you become a person that is disciplined in order to manage a portfolio? You see what I mean?
Yeah, 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 totally, man. I think that that is the key. That is the key to manifesting things, right? So all that woo woo stuff that gets thrown around. Well, what you said is the key, right? Having $1 million doesn't make you a millionaire. Being a millionaire is what gets you $1 million, and and then there's this concept how like all there exists is the now, like the present moment, and how you're creating your reality, like right now in the present moment, and what you are living right now, the reality that you're living right now was created by you, a couple of a few some time ago, and then the reality that you're going to be living is being created by you right now. So then living and feeling and being who you want to be right now is what will actually help you be that in the future, right? So totally, that's 100% the key. I completely agree. um the last question, Juan, is, what is a network. So networking, right, is very important in real estate. Networking, building relationships. So what is a tactic or strategy that you can share with us, man, that you can share with the audience to help them build a strong network and strong relationships to help them achieve their real estate goals?
Yeah. I think for me, what worked for me was in the beginning when I didn't have a lot of resources, then I would just go to meetups, Eventbrite events, anything that I can go to where more people were thinking about, real estate investing, for example. So I would go on Eventbrite and I would attend probably 2 to 3 events a week. I would go
Mm.
to meetup and I would network with people. Um, and that's how I started doing it in the beginning. Nowadays, I have no problem paying to be a part of masterminds, paying to be a part of different events. When I go to events, I'm very intentional about, not necessarily just buying general admission, being in a place where I'm going to meet other people that are also serious about what they're doing. And then wherever you go, just know that you never know who that person knows, right? So I'll go anywhere and meet people, connect with people, exchange social medias, exchange contact information, and just stay in touch, right? Because you never know how they might serve you or you might serve them. And like you said, having that abundance mindset of regardless if we do something together or not, like let me know if I can be a resource for you, and being genuine about that relationship and those connections that you get an opportunity to build.
Great feedback, man. Thank you. And do you have any last words? Any last piece of feedback? Anything you may want to share before we end this, man?
Um, I would say I had a conversation with with someone that I looked up to. He was a very successful uh, co-founder and president of a company, and at the time he had like a 20-plus-year-old company that they'd been doing 800 million in revenue for like years and years consecutively. And he gave me a piece of advice that I've taken with me today, is that he said that as an entrepreneur or as a business person, that he asked me, like, do you feel like you're behind, right, on your goals and dreams and things that you set out to do? And I said yes. And he said, me too, right? He said, I've been doing this for now like 20, 25 plus years. And every entrepreneur, every business person always feels that way because they're chasing their potential, right? They're chasing the person that they know they could be. And that's why they're always going to feel behind. And I really took that by heart because before I would almost like beat myself up in a way where I'm like, I am not where I want to be, and I'm not, like accomplishing as much as we want to. But that really brought this level of kind of like peace to me at the moment and till
Mm.
today that I carry, where every time I'm like, man, we're pursuing all these big things and we might be on track, off track, and I just ground myself and remind myself that at the end of the day, um, it's normal to feel that way. And when you reflect, and or I reflect on the times that I'm most grateful for, right? I think about, I do this exercise, Tony Robbins, like 15-minute priming, and he has a section where he thinks about the top 3 things that you're most grateful for that you can think of, and it's always rooted back to family, right? So then I think about all the things that we're pursuing is supposed to like supplement our lifestyle to make our family life and our community, our friends, and be able to create more of those memories. So then, yeah, just having more patience with myself, understanding that everyone will feel like they're behind. But looking back at it, you're just knowing that you're making a ton of progress is very encouraging for me.
Great. I really like that, man. A lot of entrepreneurs, what they really want is fulfillment, right? But they are running on the track of achievement, waiting to get to the finish line of fulfillment, but they're running in an entirely completely different track. Right? Like they're running on the track of achievement, trying to get to the finish line of fulfillment, right? Which are two completely different things. And instead of focusing on everything that you don't have, be more patient with yourself and just be grateful for what you do have. That's a lesson that I've also had the privilege of living through as well, and I really appreciate it, man. Thank you. So if anyone, any listener wants, resonated with you, they want to learn more about you, maybe they want to see if they might be a good fit to join your real estate sales team or they just want to connect with you and see how they could be of value, what would be the best place for them to find you and connect with you, man?
Yep, I think the easiest one would be on Instagram for social media, and it's at RUAN, which is my last name, Ron.dynasty, DYNASTY. So that's on Instagram. And if they wanted to shoot an email over, then it's also my last name, RUAN at, and then kineticrealestate.com. That's like kinetic energy, kinetic. So yeah, looking forward to connect and see if yeah, there's any way I could be of help or a resource.
Awesome, brother. Well, it was a pleasure getting to know you, man, and talking to you. I'll see you later, okay?
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast. We want you to know that we love and appreciate you, and we are super grateful about being part of your journey of becoming a successful real estate entrepreneur and having it all. Please share this episode with a friend who you think will be impacted positively. Send it to someone who you know is interested in real estate and dreams of having it all and being the best they can be across all areas. And if you thought this episode was really valuable, share it on your social media as a post or a story. We have a special gift for all of those who contribute to the Modern Kings and Queens movement. So for those of you who decided to share this episode and help us spread our message, send me a message letting me know on any social media platform at Alex Ramirez, the Modern King. I have a special surprise for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.